Hi, everybody. It's Margo Levette here, her business, her voice, her conversation. Well, I tell you, what a week, what a month, what a year, huh? 2020 has definitely been a challenge for most of us. But here we are. I must admit that I haven't done a monologue since COVID-19 hit. I've been busy making sure that I bring on people who keep you encouraged, give you much how-to instruction, information, and yeah, inspiration. So I was supposed to bring you a fabulous woman today, Patty Grimm. Her story is totally amazing. Wouldn't you know it? There was some problems with the audio. There were some problems with the video. And there was a clicking noise. And those of you who are podcasters understand that, these things come up. And I was going to go ahead and call it a blooper, but no, the seriousness of the conversation about how women can really find themselves and her story of falling down the corporate ladder to find herself. I didn't want to set that up as a blooper. There's nothing blooperish about that. So I sent the episode out to a video editor, and needless to say, it did not come back cleaned up as well as I thought that it could be. So I sent it out again. You're probably asking, Margo, why didn't you just go ahead and call her up, ring, 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 and do it over again? When I present it to you next week, you will understand this woman's magnetic transparency as she tells her story. Microsoft executive for 15 years, but at number 14, year 14, things started happening. Big money earner, traveled the globe, groomed for the fast track of the fast track. But to show you how things happen when you forget who you are, I didn't want to take away from the magic of her telling her story. So that's why I decided to send it out. Let's get it edited one more time, and I will bring you the story of Patty Grimm. She is an amazing author, an amazing woman, and that's all I'm going to say. You'll have to be sure to tune in next week when I bring her our conversation. In the meantime, it's monologue time. I want to check in. How's everybody doing? I sent out something to everyone so that you could, just to check on everyone. I think it was just a little note. How's everything going? I hope that you are well. Hope that you are moving right along, and I truly do mean that. So I'm taking a look back at the fabulous shows that we had in August. Today is the first week of September, but taking a look back at August, I really, really spoke with some phenomenal people, and I have my trusty folders here. Let's take a look at Dee Woolridge. Dee came on and she told us about resilience. We really have to be resilient these days. That it's, you heard this, the song, only the strong survive. Well, I don't know about that, but the resilient, the ones that fall down and get back up, those are the ones that are able to keep going, keep using podcasting as a marketing tool, able to see beyond what's going on with COVID these days and see themselves, their business, their service, their product on the other side. Dee came telling us and bearing gifts, giving us an opportunity uh, a, to be a part of her free course, a course that she normally charges people for, but we can quiz ourselves on how resilient are we. So Dee Woolridge, phenomenal conversation with her, and I learned a lot. These are days to be honest and be true to yourself, because if you need help, maybe something's going on mentally, that's okay. There are people that stand ready. Maybe you've fallen down and you aren't as resilient as you need to be. Get help. That's the final, that's the final takeaway on what Dee and I had to bring to you. Nicholas Henriksen, a guy that was in on Carvana, helping to bring technology to Carvana when Carvana was taken off like a rocket ship. The story behind Nicholas is that he left Germany. He was a part of the Germans' national golf. He played golf on Germany's national team, but he came here and became a student to the States. He became a student at Stanford, met a friend, and together they came up with a business with the understanding that when people are ready to leave Stanford, they're ready to unload their cars also. So him and his friend got into that business and helped people sell their cars. And they did detailing, all the, as some would call it, the grunt work, but they got that business off the ground. And it took off so that some of the instructors there at Stanford wanted in on the business, you know, but they built that business. And he let me know it looked like it happened fast, but really it didn't. And the takeaway is that 7 years into becoming a overnight success. But when you consistently build and you decide that you want to grow and you have a conversation with the competition, so-called competition, it's not all bad. Because that's what they did. They had a conversation with the people at Carvana. Carvana was growing, and you'll know them because they revolutionized the way we buy our cars, the way we sell our cars online. But Nicholas and his friend had the technology that Carvana wanted, so rather than reinvent the wheel, they merged, and the rest is history. Fascinating story. It's one that fills your heart and gives you the true look at what it takes to be a entrepreneur in the trenches, making strides, but still, it doesn't happen overnight. Esquire, Kahlida N Lloyd. We had a fabulous conversation, was talking about racism and reconciliation, having these conversations in our churches, all right? Where you would think that racism should not abide, and I'm just paraphrasing, I'm just bringing in my 2 cents, but we find all too often that it's there. So Esquire Lloyd, it is her mission to bring these conversations to the church in a safe, comfortable space so that the conversations that did not happen are the reasons why we are in the historical space that we're in now with racism. Excuse me, and that is a blooper. We can have those conversations now and really grow. We can have these conversations starting in the household of faith, and this is Black, white, the mosque, wherever, everywhere we have people of faith gathering. Let's have these conversations about racism, Black Lives Matter in particular, and let's come to some resolve. All right, instead of saying those hypocritical Christians, let's lean on the love that Christ brought to this world. Let's have those conversations. Esquire Lloyd is also branching out. Her nonprofit agency is now branching out, and she is equipping herself to have these conversations in workplace, small businesses on up to corporate. So as you can see, there is a need. These conversations have to be had. There are a lot of people having them, and I don't know how credentialed, I don't know how in the know they are. I don't know how much good they can bring, but Esquire Lloyd is a young Black woman. And when you listen to our conversation, you'll understand how qualified she is to come in and have these conversations. I myself, I want to add a bit of warning before you have someone come in and you put them before your flock, put them before your employees. make sure that they are qualified and they know what they're talking about, that they can actually bring a good, solid, fruitful conversation that is geared towards change. It's not threatening, it's not villainizing any, demonizing anybody, any thought. It's just putting things in another perspective. All right? Take your time before you invite people in. And Esquire Kahlida N Lloyd, she's built a nonprofit, and that's what they do. All right? I had two conversations with Debbie Durkin. Debbie Durkin is here in Hollywood. She's reigns and rules in Hollywood. She is a product placement producer. She is the reason why we see the Coca-Cola cans and the Cheerio boxes on the TV screens, in the commercials, in the movies. And she came on and she talked about how she got into that business. She took us behind the screen of how she left a thriving business in Chicago, and they would have events at the McCormick Place. Anyone knows Chicago, McCormick Place is a huge arena where events take place. And back in the day, it was one of the largest events. And for you to put on very successful events there at McCormick Place year in and year out was quite a signature. So Debbie left Chicago and she came out here, and she built out a agency where she was actually helping people in the entertainment business. Long story short, she talked about how her clients didn't know that in order to sustain her office, her business, she worked 2 and 3 jobs while she built her empire. So we often think that people have it easy, everything is smooth and to the point, and oftentimes it is not. We don't know of the sacrifice that goes into building a business. Oftentimes we're on the outside looking in. People don't know the sacrifice that goes into being able to tell your story. And telling your story comes from building that business. So she's also oh my goodness, she is one of the leaders. It's year 16 for a lady putting on a fabulous event. And these lounges that the stars are able to visit when they're going to the Golden Globes, the People's Choice, events like that, Sundance. There are these fabulous lounges that people are able to go to, and there's food and there's sponsors and schmoozing, and there's the media there, and it is really a luxury type of setting. Well, Debbie was supposed to do that this year in Beverly Hills, but COVID struck. And in episode number 2, our 2.2-part conversation, she talks about how since she is the woman who knows how to put these luxury events on, she was sitting and she thought to herself, how do we do this year? I don't want to cancel. And so she gets a call into the Beverly Hilton, where she always works. She always has her events there, has a working relationship with that hotel in Beverly Hills. She gives them a call and says, I think I want to go ahead and host a luxury event, a luxury lounge, but let's do it this way. If I can have the top of your garage, I can pull this off. And people can drive through and be a part of the Lux Lounge. She left it with them, and it wasn't even a day, hours later, they called Debbie and told her, you don't have the top garage. You don't have the garage. You have the front of the Beverly Hilton to make this event happen. So if anyone's ever been to the Beverly Hilton, The long drive is very spacious, and it's really, I could see the excitement behind having the sponsors there, and the stars being able to drive through and have access to the sponsors and access to the lunch, and everything is drive up, and you still have excuse me, still have access to the elegance and the publicity that comes with being a part of that event. So, as you can see, I had some really wonderful, authentic conversations in August, and they all left us with hope. They all left us with understanding that out of resiliency, you are able to continue the hard work that goes into being an entrepreneur. This does not happen overnight. No, it does not. But with consistency and stick to itness, resiliency, you can make it. And I apply all of that to what's going on with all entrepreneurs, the startups, and the ones that are seasoned, been in business for some time. We've all had to reinvent, pivot. We've all had to make some changes. So when you listen to the podcast, you are given access to maybe a puzzle piece that you would have missed, so that you could make a really good decision. So I've opened up the vault, and that's a segment that I have open for everybody over on my LinkedIn page, business page, her business, her voice, her conversation. I'm all about giving you the best information so that you can build, grow, scale your business. And when COVID is over, you won't be getting ready. You will be ready to move forward because you never lost a beat. So in Open the Vault, I've re-released my conversation with David J. Dunworth. He is a marketing genius, and I want you to purchase the transcript because he is actually teaching marketing on a very high level. And when you get the transcript, then you can find the pieces that apply to you where you are in business. So go over to LinkedIn, my LinkedIn page, my business page, her business, her voice, her conversation. Up under the Open the Vault, which is there on that page, that's where you'll have access to the recording. And just send me a message if you would like to purchase that, a copy of that transcript. So worth it. It's something that I've decided to do every other week because I've had some people on that are teaching you information that is simply priceless, information about marketing, information about how to build your business. And all the while, you're suffering from imposter syndrome. And what does that look like when you built your business and you're actually able to walk away from that people pleasing posture, and you're able to open up a totally different segment of your life? What does that look like? I have that conversation, and I'll be bringing that to you. How do you find your way around LinkedIn? A lot of people don't understand what the real estate, how pricey the real estate is over there on LinkedIn and how to use it. Now is the time to get before the business to business people that are going to change the trajectory of your business. You need to make those connections, and we all want to connect. I can't stress it enough. Just reach out to people. Let's not spam them and try to sell them everything under the sun. First of all, let's just reach out to people. Let's just offer them information. Let's give people what they need, a tool for transformation, or just a sharing of their post. That's what I'm finding is so priceless over on LinkedIn these days. So I thought I'd just come on and just share some time with you, seeing that I couldn't bring Patty Grimm's um, segment to you this week, but I'm definitely going to have it for you next week. And I look forward to that because, like I say, how is it that you are a rock star at Microsoft and you didn't just get there, you've been there, just knocking the ball out the park. You are the positive Patty. You are the gem in the crown of a gem in the crown of the king. You are the fixer. You are all of that. You are the sliced bread, but you notice things are happening and you have the boldness, the audacity, you have the courage to step away and take care of yourself and on down the road to tell your story. Phenomenal, phenomenal. So I will be back with a new episode on Tuesday, and it will be Patty Grimm. Now, if all of the background is not engineered out, do know that they did the best that they could. Listen to Patty, watch her, listen to her, because it very well could be your story. Okay? A lot's going on in corporate these days, and a lot of people are trying to do things that are just harming themselves. So I'm Margo Levette, her business, her voice, her conversation. This episode was brought to you by Podcast Academy Online. Keep in mind that I do teach you how to podcast from the inside out like an adult. That means you podcast at your own pace in a community setting, and there are never any stupid questions. If you don't know what a podcast is, no worries. Come on over to the Academy. That's where we begin. I teach you what a podcast is, what it does, and then we take the deep dive. All right? Take a listen, share this out, and I'll be back next week with a brand new episode right here at Her Business, Her Voice, Her Conversation. Bye-bye now.